All right, welcome to one of the last two episodes of this season's Menu Combat. I am the Wolves Den, your host, here with special guest from one of our most popular episodes, and we couldn't get him earlier for the Fire Emblem, which is what I know he really wants to talk about, but you'll hear him sneaking in today. Say hello, Jeremiah.
Wait a minute, that was one of the most popular episodes that we did. Like
Yes,
a couple. That was how long ago was that?
that was about like, is it a year, two years? Whenever did we did the triangle strategy? It's either a year or last year. Last year or 2 years ago.
Well, when if they ever do another triangle
Oh yeah,
strategy,
we covering that.
when they come out with a fire emblem that is worthy of
We're not gonna slide the
fire,
engage.
fire emblem engage was I didn't have to play it to know it sucks. Um but like whenever we get something like that, we're gonna come back and hopefully see you a little well, you guys see me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, bouncing off ideas to Mark to you.
Yes, no doubt. And so this is Menu Combat, a podcast of folks who like to pause and customize their party in JRPGs. And if you all remember the last time we did an episode, I talked about not wanting to use items. And then Jeremiah hits me up as like, do you use HMs in Pokemon? Was your basic. And it kind of got me to think about it's like, what do we mean by an item anyways? Like, what is an item? And then we have a couple of categories we'll think about, and then just some like examples of thinking out items, why we use them, when we use them, what makes them special, not makes them special. But you had a definition for item that I don't know if I agree, but I think it's the nice working definition. Go for it.
I mean, and we just came up with this. Well, I just came up with this, and it's basically anything that you can attach to a character or purchase or use.
Mhm.
That goes from potions. I know you think potions and elixirs and we talked about Phoenix Wings and things like that cheapens the experience, but if it wasn't it was put in the game for a reason.
Yeah.
And so those are items, TMs and HMs and Pokemon and potions in there as well.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of Persona, so skill cards there.
Yeah.
Was a Persona 5, which I did like, but they talked a lot in there. Uh, uh, and a lot of RPGs like Golden Sun, Fire Emblem, Triangle Strategy,
Yeah.
you have to they do promotions, so you have to have like a certain
Yes.
order or whatever to promote your character to a new what are they called? A new
A new job, a new class, kind
auto
of that thing.
class. Yeah,
But
so those are items.
yeah, I kept on thinking of just potions, like all the healing status, antidotes, things of that nature. But the thing that you said in your definition that I struggled with is that you went as far to say, yeah, a weapon is an item, or an
Oh
ex
yeah, yeah.
or a like a armor is an item, and you're not wrong, right? Like that is, but I don't treat it like such. But like, what makes you feel okay framing it in that way?
So before you even go there, what do you mean you don't what do you
I
say you
feel
don't
like I feel like weapons are such a special thing, but I just calling them an item feels like oh, not a downgrade, but like it is not just it's not an item, it's like a fundamental part of the experience.
all right,
The same
so
way I feel like essentially what it is like these are permanently equipped things in battle. And I feel like an item is so much about, especially as we expand it, about things you do to modify battle in battle, what you do after battle, or what you do in like the open world. And so I don't always consider accessories, weapons, armor in that way because those are about like the core build of your character, so to speak. And maybe that's an arbitrary definition or arbitrary perspective.
well, I look at RPGs like modular games in a way,
Right.
like at least their components, and so you mix and match. And so a great example of that would be something like Destiny 2,
Right.
um, Cyberpunk. What are those games from Bethesda?
Oh, the
Those
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls and things like that. And so like items are you can't play those games without weapons. You
Yes,
need to
that's
play
what I'm
those games
saying.
without armors.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it feels so much more heavier than an item.
Yeah, but when you talk about items or things that are with you always, there are games where and Zelda doesn't, Breath of the Wild or
It
whatever,
straddles the line.
isn't I don't consider it an RPG. If it was an RPG, I would actually like it more. I would actually play it. But like Fire Emblem, our first Fire Emblem that we
Yeah.
talked about, items break.
Yes.
Weapons break, I should say.
That's
That's a
you
certain
see,
number of uses.
I
And
think I think that is why I consider those items. That actually helps me. I feel like in I think of items as resources for the most part, and I feel like a weapon is a resource, but if it doesn't break like in Fire Emblem, it feels like a different category of thing. In Fire Emblem, what's the steel sword, a naginata, all those things are things that will break depending on which game, right? Arguably, you could say that maybe because I think Fates is the one where the items don't break, but they change the stats, if I have it correctly.
like a broken, like it breaks. It's like a broken iron that is something. It's like I'm don't correct. Well, correct me if I am wrong.
Yeah.
Still usable, but think about it like this:
Mhm.
you have a Master Ball in Pokemon, one item, unless you're playing gold and silver, where you can clone it. Or before they did reusable TMs, you have to really sit there and think about what Pokemon you want to
Right.
learn. Ice Beam, or
Right.
almost Crazy Plant, but that's not a TM. Earthquake or something like that, especially Earthquake. Dragon Pulse. And like you said, a Naginata and Fire Emblem. Only particular few people can use that weapon, the item. There's such a level of, or even a promotion orb,
Yeah.
or something like that. It's so rare in a way that you have to really consider it, who to put it on, who to use
Right.
it. Like hold items in Pokemon, like
Yeah.
leftovers.
That's a
You
good point. Those don't break except for berries, and
Yeah,
those do last.
yeah, but there's still a rarity around it. And so like items that break or has one use, you can only buy is one per game unless you
Yeah.
farm
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Master Ball. Um, you there is a level of you know speciality to a speciality a sort of like you hold it close to you. I can't think of the word
Yes.
right, because of how rare it is to come by, and you have to be real particular who, like, think about who you going to use that Master Ball on. Growing
Yep.
up, we used the Master Ball on Mewtwo. But when Gold, Silver, and Crystal came along, you were using that Master Ball. 9 times out of 10, you were using the Master Ball on one of the three Roman Pokemon,
Okay.
Entei, Raikou, or Suicune. You weren't going to really use it on, you know, um, Ho-Oh or Lugia.
Right.
You throw a bunch of balls at it, a bunch of Ultra Balls at it. But there is something special about those items. And when an item can break, you're going to be real particular about
Yes.
what items you're going in battle with. When I first played Breath of the Wild, I got the master, I think it's the Master Sword or something
Yep.
like that. No, or whatever other sword that I like. You were real particular, or
Yes.
bow or whatever. Or you were real particular about who you were fighting with that weapon.
Yes. I
And
think
so
that's why I love Breath of the Wild so much. I think its relationship to items feels very Fire Emblem-ish. It feels very similar to how I approach the thinking process in Fire Emblem over in that space. I realize that's why it doesn't bother me as much as I think it bothers other people because I'm like, I'm coming from Fire Emblem where that's like a inherent element versus, and I think that's why when you speak to folks about Zelda, but not just Zelda, that the idea of a breakable weapon feels wrong, but if you ask them a breakable item, they're like, oh, that's normal. Like there is this distinctive feel of like, this is okay here, but an item can go, but a weapon can't. And that's a hard, it's a back and forth thing about like why weapons.
they're items. They're still items.
They're still items, but I feel like that's why I say they're almost a special class of a thing beyond an item in a lot of games.
I think what we should do and could do is you know, there may be opportunity for us to come up with a tier list of items.
Yes.
And like you said, a potion. One of my favorite items in games. is the when you have a down character or a fainted character or
Yeah.
a dead character, you bring in the Phoenix Wing, whatever the
Yeah.
equivalent to whatever game that is. Um, and that revives the character completely.
Yes.
In Pokemon, that would be
A
a
revive.
max revive. A max. I like the max revives.
Yes.
I know you're cheap, but I go all out on my max revives. I go all out on my full restores. I don't do max potions, hyper potions. I do max revives. I don't even need max revives once I level up a certain level. But and because those put me back in the game. Not like me physical,
Right.
but put me back in like, all right, now I can get through this hard level, or et
Right.
cetera. Or a character that I needed.
Right.
Uh, yeah, like, or you hated to lose, like Bernadetta. Oh, I love Bernadetta. No, like she was my best archer
Yeah.
in houses. And so those type of things, you said, I think your argument was that it cheapens the experience. And it doesn't cheapen experience for me because you have this, like you build relationship with items, like you talked
Yeah.
about breakable items, but you build relationship with characters.
Yeah.
And not so much in Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean,
'Cause
depend a little bit in
you,
Pokemon, but I
I
get
mean,
you.
you can, but like in the heat of the battle,
Yeah.
like the most I've had, everybody's used this strategy in the Pokemon game. You going against, Steven, Cynthia, Red, or your first time in Elite Four, you're doing full restore revive combo,
Right.
and you're sacrificing one Pokemon to revive this one that you think can outspeed
Yeah.
get a crit on or a super effective one. Like, and no, but you know that you can that Pokemon's not dead
That is,
unless you're doing a Nuzlocke or something, you
yeah.
know.
I
And
think it's interesting because Fire Emblem doesn't have revives, right? And so it makes you wonder, like, they've obviously been playing around with how do we keep these characters alive? And obviously the one of his the what is it, Miller's turn wheel, the defined
it's
pulse.
basically just a rewind.
That's been kind of their approach, but I wonder if you're if they want to ever introduce an item where I'm like, maybe you can revive this person, maybe you only get like three of them a game, and therefore, hey, you gotta use this at the right time. If you lose your boy, you can get them back once, and maybe you introduce it in that way. Maybe that would be a good way for them to kind of have a halfway point between the the easy mode, which doesn't have permadeath, a full permadeath mode, but with the Miller's turn wheel. This kind of could be a nice in between where they're like, hey, there's a special item where you get revived by the dragon, but the dragon will only revive three people ever in the game.
Yeah, what I would do is what I would like, because honestly, playing on hardest difficulty, extreme, or whatever the case may be, it's fun until I get to the last, chapter. Because I play Fire Emblem from a defensive position.
Right.
I gotta send the character out, bait, bait the enemy, bring them back in, circle. It's real um art of war like. But once you get to those the big the final chapter, especially in Three Houses, depending on if you're going against the church,
Right.
you got a stationary dragon. So you have to go head to head with that one. And so your strategy is a little bit different. I would like, instead of the rewind,
Right.
I would like, hey, you get five of these a game.
Yeah.
Or
Some.
or five of these path or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that really puts the pressure on you. Because one thing I've had to learn growing up and playing games like Fire Emblem that have permadeath is that it sucks losing a character, but it makes the experience a lot more better.
100%.
And then you're thinking about all the memories you had with, with Seth or something like that. Like, damn, that was a good battle. He got me out of that. But then you don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that, they've made it so good at allowing you to somewhat mourn a character.
Yes.
Not to get super attached to it, but
No, but
I think that's the way where items could really help. Item and like I said, my position is that items don't cheapen the experience. You know, if they're used right in a certain way.
Yeah,
Like if we use Pokemon now, y- it's cool. Like I haven't the last Pokemon game I played was um it wasn't Scarlet and Violet. What was before Scarlet and Violet?
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield. Yes. I was it was not only was it handholdy, and maybe it's like my old man yelling at the yelling at the new kids or whatever, but the I'm used to putting thought into what TM I'm going to give a Pokemon
Right.
and using now they don't break or get used up. I remember as a kid like man if I didn't have an HM slave
Mhm.
I would, or like a Furret or a Singtrid or whatever great, but those HM slave moments weren't bad. It would just limit your party to five.
It,
You get out of cave and then you go back and get the
I mean,
Pokemon.
I think this is so interesting, right? So HMs and TMs in Pokemon arguably are like the place where items in Pokemon come to the forefront. Obviously, they used to have HMs. We used to not be able to delete them. So they felt like integral parts of the game. Obviously, they're designed so you don't get stuck, permanently lock yourself in a particular area. So that's why they exist. But it made us have certain builds of teams, right? Be it the Sentry or be it Zigzagoon, like
Yeah, because you're a Gen 3er.
yeah.
Um,
And so it does make me feel like it we didn't necessarily like it because it affected our ability to customize our team. But on the other hand, it builds it builds a relationship with one Pokemon because you're now like, yo, this Pokemon gotta do everything, and that now is a part of your team, and you now see it as a resource that is fundamentally different from the rest of your team, and that's cool that the item build did that. Now
yeah,
that we have way more freedom, that's not inherently bad, but I think we lose that relationship to those old HM folks.
yeah, like so peep this. Those earlier generations taught you how to be adaptable. If
Yes.
be adaptable. There's another thing. There's utility for every Pokemon.
Yep.
You have Pokemon who are just if you're Gen 3. I love Gen 5, even though Gen 2 is my favorite, but Gen 5 is up there.
Mhm.
You have Pokemon that were just going to be for contests.
Yes.
Or maybe both. You have battle ones that you're going to go through the Elite Four, where you have ones that were going to be like your Battle Tower, Battle Frontier uh, teams if you didn't rent teams, if you didn't rent a party or whatever. You had in Gen 5, you had, and especially Black and White 2, you had Pokemon World Championships. So you're
Yeah.
going to have, this is probably going to be like your elite team, even more so than the Elite Four teams. Um, because your Elite Four team probably would have had a legendary or two on there if got there. Um, then they had the movie studios in Gen
Yeah.
5. So like then we call him an HM slave, but that Pokemon can do everything, you know. Um, and we were so battle focused.
Yeah.
And that's why I do appreciate Gen 3 now, and Gen 5 now because it's giving us more ways to use our Pokemon. And instead of just like, oh man, Surf is always I'm always gonna have Surf, but like, or what's it, Waterfall, because these are good moves in battle at high accuracy. But I just think that now you don't have to be as resourceful as
Yeah.
adaptable.
That
Um,
is, and that's what was the coolest thing about it. It makes me wonder. So they obviously ended up in this place because in Gen 4 they had like eight HMs where you had one HM slave and then you had to like still attach HMs to your other Pokemon. I wonder if the answer was instead of like, hey, let's just remove it as a mechanic in terms of your Pokemon, I wonder if it's better to have said, hey, every game is going to have different HMs in the sense of you're not going to surf in this game, you're only going to dive. That kind of, or in this game, you're only going to go up waterfalls. Something like where they limit the HMs, but it is always changing the way that you design your environments. That would have been cool.
I mean, in a way, and I get what you're getting at because in Hoenn it was more water, and
Right.
so. you're introducing dive. And I like dive as a move,
Yeah,
like an alternative to
yeah,
bounce, fly. I said fly before bounce before fly, but bounce or fly
yeah,
or dig.
yep.
Um, but dig doesn't really matter if you use magnitude or earthquake. Anyway, I'm getting too deep into
Yeah,
strategy.
but
Like,
that I'm imagining a place where they design the world around Dig as your primary agent. Like stuff like that could have given them. I understand how they ended up here, but I'm like, there are probably other paths that if we wanted to, because you could do the thing where you're like, you build up a relationship to an item. Like I think about it all the time. Flash has no relevance in like the history of Pokemon anymore, outside of Gen 1 and 2.
oh my God, Gen 1 Flash was Flash string shot. Man, you get
But
hit with two string shots, you're done.
But I
You're
think
not,
about it, like if you want to change the relationship with Flash, like maybe you bring it back for a different dungeon style in another game. Like I think there are opportunities to build our relationships with these items in different ways. I think that's where I'm going.
I
But
think my biggest one, and I agree with that, but I think my biggest gripe was that for my not for my competitive team or online
yeah,
team, like for my story
yeah,
campaign playing the game, there was a Pokemon in my end game that had fly.
yeah,
When I was younger, even my Rayquaza had fly. And somebody was gonna have fly. And I like seeing the animation with the
yeah,
Pokemon going.
yeah.
Like I like fly, and now I don't have that anymore. Or when I played what was
Sword
it?
and
Sword
Shield.
and Shield. There was like the Corviknight
Yeah.
animation. I'm like, sorry, I don't like this.
Hey, Corviknight is at least cool. At least
Corviknight, Corviknight is a cool Pokemon, but then how accessible it is, and then being like the fly,
yeah.
whatever thing, it cheapens it to me.
No, I feel that.
But Corviknight is actually really, really, really good. So but I do agree with you. There needs to be for a Pokemon for one Fire Emblem. I think that would be better for like higher difficulties, like
Yeah.
more like those Phoenix Downs, Phoenix Wings, whatever you want to call them, revised, full restores. Pokemon. What is our real relationship with HMs? And again, I don't want to sound like the grumpy old man. I'm only
Mhm.
34. Um, is that Flash doesn't even matter in dungeons or caves anymore because it's like
Right.
straight fights. You remember like yo, Pokemon Gen 3 made me learn Braille.
Yep, yep, yep.
I had to use Flash to get to one of the Reggies.
Yep.
you
That's
know,
I
you
think
don't get
that
that.
I think that's the stuff that as they continue to think about how they want to evolve Pokemon and they're trying to solve that, I think that is if they introduce HMs in that way, I think they'll be onto something. My other, but what I also wanted for us to think about are just like, what are our categories of items, right? So maybe we agree or disagree on weapons, but I say improvement items, right? This is where we have the boots in Fire Emblem, uh, the +2 endurance in like a Final Fantasy, those kind of like stat improvement.
Yeah,
They're key items. Key items like, hey, you got this orb, you need to take it to this person over here in a different continent. Or
yeah,
you need the SSN and ticket to go. Then you have like quest items where you're doing like I guess general quests, like the mini side quests. And you're like, this person needs this thing from this person. In a lot of Zelda games, you have like this trade thing where you trade this with this person to get this item, and you trade it with this person. The same thing with Final Fantasy IX with the Moogles. The Moogles allow you to do all these different trades of items, and that's just not a regular item. We have the promotion items that we talked about, and then I've been trying to call these key items where they're bigger than a quest. And they're not just the orb over here, but I'm thinking about the Trident and Golden Sun, where these are items that if you don't have, you will not proceed, but they're kind of like a rumored item, right? So in Golden Sun, if you remember to get to Lemuria, you have to get the Trident to be able to slay the monster in front of you. In Dragon Quest One, you have to get all the old Erdrick items to get the Golden Bridge, and I feel like those items are interesting because I feel they're tied to mythology rather than just like here's this that's going to give you this access. Can you
yeah.
think of any others like that?
So while you were talking, I went up and booted up. I don't know if the people can see it, but I
Yeah.
booted up my Crystal on the 2DS, and I'm looking at my bag, and for items, it has things in there like your bitter berry, your X accuracy,
Yep.
um, your antidote. Key items are going to be like your SSN ticket, um, and like rainbow feather for a ho or some or a silver wing for Lugia. Or silver, I forgot what it was called for Lugia. But I'll open up Alpha Sapphire later. But it, I think that's a good way to do it. But also going back to what you were saying, like those maybe something I think about. Weapons give that ability in a lot of RPGs too. You know, you equip a certain sword. You remember,
Yeah, yeah.
you go from a wooden stake to an iron sword,
Yeah.
you're gonna get +2 attack or something like that. You go from a wooden shield to a golden shield or whatever, which doesn't make any sense because gold is a terrible metal for weapons. But anyway, um, because it's so soft. But you get plus whatever. And we just talked about this offline, like on Mega Man Battle Network, you have like chips that increase your memory, so you can store more battle chips or sub chips or increase your HP. Pokemon that have your protein,
Yep. I
your
mean,
calcium, your rare candy.
yep.
Um, and so we could probably because I opened that because where you're talking like you mentioned like your key items. The key items are things that can't go away.
Yes.
Either like your bicycle or
Yeah.
like you said, story related things. Like you need this trident to get to that. You got to keep that item forever. Um, um, but then you have I like the whole concept of items based off of how many uses you can get out of them.
Yep.
You know, that's where I think that may be your beef with potions, and antidotes and things like that, and even berries or whatever. They're like one use. There's one use to that. And so it can be based off of that or level of importance. Well, actually, I wouldn't even do level of importance because
No.
all of them are important, except for like the X accuracy and stuff like that. But
I mean, it depends on your strategy. You got me thinking about accessories as items specifically, right? So, like, I'm thinking about FF7 Remake, where you can apply these earrings that apply a revive to your character, but once you use it once, the item permanently breaks. You have similar items like this in Tales of games where they're like, this is an equip item that allows you this like skill of revive, but once it's done, and then you're gonna have to re-equip another accessory after the battle. And I find that such an interesting take because it takes the kind of glass items in some of the Fire Emblem games where it's like glass, you only get one shot to use it, but as an accessory, it changes your playstyle a bit.
yeah, no, definitely. And now I'm open and I'll open it up Alpha Sapphire, which has a lot more a lot more components to it, and I'm looking at it. They they split their items up in now like they have items, which is going to be your whole items like silk
Yep.
scarf, soft sand. Your they combine balls in here, so you see ultra balls in
Yeah.
here, which and also is weird. Oh no, and then red orb. That's a whole item for Groudon,
Yeah.
and you have your medicine. So oh, that's how we can do it. Like your medicine items
Yeah.
your travel items, whatever. So like medicine, you have your ethers, your PP Max, full restore, your iron. This is for Pokemon, and then they had I don't know for Pokemon, I don't know how this would be translatable to other games. Your TM and HMs are the same thing or different things. And then key items, your old rod, your EXP share,
Yep.
uh, contest pass. I know you love the contest pass. You were a contest guy. But I always get to the master contest and I sucked. We couldn't get anything. But I think that could be a way. But I
Yeah.
know there are some games they just dump everything in there. I have to boot up triangle strategy to see how
That
they
I was about to get to triangle. Triangle is interesting because one of the easiest item things I think they throw in RPGs are like ores or hides, like things that you get from enemies or from battles that are not like the main things.
yeah.
And so in triangle strategy, I think you can get them also through because I feel like remember in triangle strategy, depending on how you fight, you can get certain money that's like different from your regular money. And then
Yeah.
you can also buy with your money like different ores to upgrade your weapons. In and right now, even in Persona 4, as I'm playing it, I've been collecting ores for like 20 hours and I've not really thought anything about it. And I've now realized there's a whole store of it. I can use it to exchange for items. I'd arguably think that providing other resources but aren't money makes I like those items feel more fun, but they also feel more random, right? Like you're not necessarily guaranteed always going to be able to upgrade the sword in Triangle Strategy. And you also have to choose which version because you can get something that gives you a different type of attack. It's yeah, I think
But also the swords and triangle strategy aren't, I think this is the word, they don't have as much personality as what you
no,
may have Fire Emblem,
yeah,
Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy
yeah,
Tactics like
because
that.
you don't change the type of weapon per se. Like you change the material of the weapon, but you don't change the type of the weapon in the same concept.
So, and I don't really have a real connection to any of the items.
Yeah.
I mean, any of the weapons
Yeah.
and trying to strategy like I would have in, like you said, a Zelda or Tactics Advance,
Oh, that's a
or
good one. In Tactics Advance, you have the whole law cards as items, which is a
yeah, I
whole.
like the whole thing of just going to jail in the
I
game.
I think that's fire, man. I think that entire that game is special. One of these days, I gotta talk about that here. But I
It
love
gave it gave me soccer vibes and you know you get a red card, a yellow
yeah
card, soccer,
yeah
but also it gave me like, damn, you can go to jail for doing like
yes.
right,
And then
and
you have to and then you have to pay bail to get them out.
yes, and so was that I didn't play the original Final Fantasy Tactics. That wasn't a component.
No, it wasn't a component. In fact, my goal is to play the remake as it comes out because I've only played a bit of the original. But nobody, let me phrase that. People have always disliked the law cards in a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance conversation. To me, I think the fact that you could impose law cards on your on enemies as well, like imagine, like the fact that you can go into a battle and look at what each person has equipped, and then say, "Oh, I see you have a bunch of archers, no archery," as the law card applied.
That
It
would go crazy in online play. Ima- oh my God, I would imagine what you would come up in competitive play, tournament
that's
play, online
I
play.
really there's a version of this game that is about deck building to do that kind of cool stuff. I love the anti-law cards where like you can break the laws on there so you don't go to jail. I also think the coolest thing there's a place that they call lawless where you can't use the items, but because you can't use the items, there's no judge.
Yeah.
Not use items, not use the cards, so there's no judge, which means if you die there, you're permanently dead.
And
It
I think Tactics Advance was good in that because it just that was their way of circumventing permadeath in a way.
yes,
Oh,
it
and it made it like a sport. It made like, oh man, I I remember I didn't beat Tactics Advance. I got like to the final chapter level boss or whatever, and I was probably like 14 and didn't finish it. But that I love that game, man. Like
that's
I would intentionally break the laws just to see what would happen.
it
Or
is.
sometimes you get to break the law because you needed to win. In a
Yeah,
way,
sometimes you do it just for the clutch win. And I think interestingly, they have an interesting item set up where if you don't do certain jobs at certain times or do missions, you're locked out because you don't get the item to unlock a certain mission. You can still beat the core game, but you can't do all the missions if you miss missions at certain times because they would give you unique items to get access to hidden missions. It's a very interesting item system now that we're having this this thought about it.
no, man. I'm just thinking about the intro when you the snowball fight. Oh,
Yes.
anyway, I don't want to get us off the path.
Yes.
That was a great game. That was a great game. Um, I'm more excited for I play that again. I don't need a remake of that. Because it was beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, but I do plan on playing the original.
Yep. An-
Um,
Another style of thinking about what you said about items as modifications. If the game has a modification system, right? Like I'm thinking Final Fantasy X with the sphere grid. I'm talking about FF7 with the material. Like if they have a modification system, part of the thing is that your items can allow you to build your character. But that's really dependent on the style of a game that it's being done. And so I don't know if you've ever done like the material, sphere grid, or even the Gambit system. Not the the Gambit board, I think is what it's called in FF12, where basically you need to have resources to open up the ability to upgrade on the map to build out your character. That's the general gist. Materia is a little bit different because you're programming your character in a different way. But I say that to say that these are items that affect build operations. And I like when games provide that as an item resource because it makes those items feel special.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember what game I was playing. It's not um it's on my Steam, but it's not Dynasty Warriors. Hell no. But it's like a real-time strategy game.
Okay.
And you start as a king or a lord of some country, then you expand out. Um and so when you make your character, that's like one of you start off with a certain archetype and you have to do certain things to actually build it out. And Crusader Kings 3. So I've been playing I love Crusader Kings 3. And so you had to do things to build out, like if you were going to be a conquest type of dude, or you're going to be like a religious scholar or something like that. You had these traits that you had to build out. So I know what you're saying. Also, they had something similar to that. I can't remember which Battle Network it was. Um, Battle Network were great games too.
Right.
I don't know if you played them,
I
but they
mean,
are
I'm
great games.
thinking that I
They were
have.
really hard at the end, but it was so much more rewarding when you win. But
Do you consider
yeah,
your deck items in that game?
yeah, it's kind of like your cards, your chips,
Yeah.
your chips in. So I think battle phase would be like 30 minutes. You always had a blaster. You
Yeah.
charge a blaster. Then there's a certain level, certain number of chips that you would get, like a berry chip, a sword, a different type of sword, elemental, the fire, ice, water, grass, things like that, or a support item. You would have those, or you could use one of the virus chips. I'm thinking about the little weird, I forgot the name of that virus that had the hammer and the hat. But yeah, those I love these items. But those were core examples of that too. It made me think about that one game. I don't know if you want to consider these items because I was looking at my Metal Gear Solid Acid, I think.
Okay.
It was that card component to it, but I
Right.
don't know if you want to consider those items. But also Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah.
My It was technically a RPG. There was no leveling up, but it followed the eight badges or medals and then the Elite Four trope in the mainline series. But your only items were the cards. They were reusable. But you had item cards. We know we have item cards in Pokemon. So like what would that even fall under?
It's interesting because I do think RPG card games are a unique brand, right? Like I'm thinking what Marvel Midnight Suns is a RPG, but it has card game built-in concepts. You have Batten Kaitos. It's interesting. Items is so, I mean, cards are such an interesting way. It's weird because I want to say those are deck building games, and those are items, but I feel like building a full deck is very different in its
Yeah, like
expectations.
well, in Pokemon trading card game, you have item card like Bill or Professor
Right.
Oak. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Rashif of Destruction. I think that was the RPG. You had your traditional spell items.
Right.
I wouldn't even call trap cards item cards, but maybe they operate the same. But like, your swords of revealing light, your rebound something. I can't remember. I'm just naming item
Yeah.
cards and spell cards. But even fusion cards. I don't know. But but I think card RPG games, which I would consider like those Yu-Gi-Oh games, like Receipt
Yeah.
for Destruction, that a storyline and trading card game, they are unique items because they exist as long as they are in your deck.
Yes.
They don't. They're like you said. They're not. What you said. The glass items that break after one use or whatever. So that's a different category in itself.
It is. It does make me realize I need to play more card RPGs in general. I haven't done like I've done the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but I haven't. That's why I said the first thing that came to mind was Marvel Midnight Suns. That has been on my list for a while. But I don't. It is so interesting to think about all these kind of ways. Think about it. There's one thing I'll add as kind of like as our one of our closing items is food. I think I think it's funny that every game uses food in different ways, right? Like in Pokemon, the lemonade is kind of like, well, this is just another version of a potion. Or if you go to the lava, what is the name of where Flannery's gym is, and you get the lava cookie, and that can heal certain statuses. So they're like unique to give flavoring to the world, but they're really just status items.
Yeah,
In
like berries and apricorns aren't technically a food. They were used to make
no,
potions.
they used
They're
to.
used to make a wholly different, a wholly new item.
Yes.
Items that create more items. Your your raspberries and things like that. Food.
Yeah, in Persona 4, I can tend to a garden that can help me get items. So like because healing items, MP restore items are so scarce, it gets you to involve yourself in other things that you normally wouldn't do. I mean, I'm thinking other games like that allow you to fish or things of that nature where those are like food items that you can use to prepare.
Like one of my favorite games, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
Yep.
Yo, you're foraging, you're eating plants, you're fishing, you're killing like yeah, like there's Red Dead Redemption 2 and 1 like you are killing items for food. You're killing items for food. You're killing animals for food, but also to make new gear.
Yep. I
To
mean,
make new
that's oh, we haven't thought about Monster Hunter. The minute you said that, I'm like, that's a whole system, ecosystem built around skinning animals to be able to upgrade and get access to new items. Like that's an entire gameplay loop. It's not, there's not like obviously there's other things there, but I'm like, that's the idea is that you face this animal like three, four times to get enough of the material to craft the new thing. Because I mean, I we haven't talked about crafting, but that's kind of a whole subplot of items in a lot of these spaces, right? Like, if you want to go back to contests, you had to craft the Poke Blocks from the berries, right? Like, that is a subsystem element that I don't necessarily know if I care about much, but I know it's such a trend.
I mean, so I've only played a couple of Monster Hunter games. I have a friend who's old friend who loves them to death. Um, but like items to craft new things is nothing new.
Yeah.
You say you talk about the get the Pokeblocks. You the fusion of items to create a new item. And you see this in expanding beyond RPGs, like I said, Red Dead. You see this in what is that other game? Fallout. You know, you see these and it's all across the system. And like I mentioned, apricorns. They
Yep.
make balls. I I think, man, honestly, we just have to come back and just come up with a tier list of items. Like there are items that I can do without. I used to in my younger years, I thought I could do without HMs. I was stupid and young. Um, I miss HMs. I haven't played. I'm not going to buy another mainline series game. But you can do without potions. I like potions, man. Potions gets you through. Like you're one of those. You can't tell me you're so hardcore that you're gonna thug it out without a potion, and you're just gonna. I just need. It just means I need to get stronger. No, like come
No,
on, man. You
let
need that
me, I
somehow.
feel like you're misconstruing my stance. It was that I don't like to use it. I'll use them, but I feel like I am not. It's like I'm admitting to the game, like, man, I wasn't good enough. I'm gonna need this as a resource. I need to use it. That's the feeling I get. It's like, man, I wasn't good enough. I'm gonna just need to have to use this revive.
What I'm trying to say is, it's like life, man. How many times have you called me? And you like, yo, Jay, how you feeling? I'm telling like I'm struggling like this. You're like, man, what you doing? Are you like why are you struggling by yourself? You have friends, you have families, you have colleagues, you have professors, you have loved ones, you have people in the street who don't know you who can help you. You have this thing, even like if you're struggling, some doctors may prescribe a medicine that
Right.
will help you and you're gonna go through that pain without getting help. Like no, it's not that you're not good enough. We just all need help, and those are there to help me when I may not be able to do it on myself until I am able to do it on myself. The first time I remember going against the Pokemon League, I came in a stack with full revives and max potions and full restores and stuff like that. But as I got stronger,
Right.
I didn't need it anymore. It's just about getting us stronger. We all need help, and like this is why video games are important. It
Yes.
teaches us that we need help, and not to be shy about asking for help. You can, oh, my ace died. Now I don't want to use this potion. Use the potion. Use it. There's nothing wrong with using the potion. Oh, I don't want. I don't want to evolve my Pokemon because I no evolve it. Use the item. Use the Firestone. Use the Moonstone. I don't really like Pokemon who evolve from Moonstone, but use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Bernadetta. I love Bernadetta. Sorry, Bernadetta. Like, use it. Revive her. Rewind it. Sometimes I hate
Yeah.
rewinds. But like,
But you see, but that's what I think. Like you get it. I'll do it, but I don't. I use it as a proof that I'm not skilled enough yet. Like the boss battle, I'll say, I told you, I'll call you back in 10 minutes because I was doing this boss battle. I literally, because I knew I couldn't waste warrior time. I'm like, I'm gonna use these items like I don't want to because I gotta go record with Jeremiah. But I was
my,
like, man, I'm not skilled enough yet. But I'm gonna do it because it's time to go.
bro, I hit you. I say, hey, I'm working on the chapter,
Yeah.
right? I'm working on the chapter in my dissertation. I'm like, man, no, it's not even about a chapter. I'm struggling with my PhD. I'm going through it, right? It would be stupid for me not to reach out to somebody that's going through the process before me. It'll be stupid to think since I passed my comps or my prospectus defense to no longer ask my committee for help. I'm gonna use my resources. Use your resources. We are here. They're called RPGs for a reason. Role playing games. They're not. You in a role playing game. You're role playing as a character or whatever that is going to need help when you're playing these games. Hey, as the main character, what do the NPCs do to you? They ask you for help.
Yep.
They come to you for help. Hey, we got mad people with big R's on their chest cutting off slowpoke tails. Come help us, 10-year-old, 12-year-old. Like, come on. Like, hey, we're a multinational billion-dollar corporation that's taken over by the Yakuza, but help us, 12-year-old. Like, come on. Like, help. They in fire in Golden Sun. Wow. And Golden Sun's great, one of the two greatest games ever. Wow. Alchemy is coming back. We have to stop it. Young people who just learn how to use it, stop it. Get back. And then the other side, we need alchemy. You young people, bring it back. Like, come on. Like the theme here is that we put the children are the future.
Yeah.
But everybody needs help. Role playing games, RPGs exist because they create a main character or main characters that help people, that save the world. You're
And
like, come on, man. Like, we need it. And so, as the people who are helping the people
right.
moving the plot forward, we need help.
That's
Hey,
okay.
hey, Pokemon Center nurse, help me. You know what I'm saying? I blacked out, or back in the, I whited out, whatever that meant, like a surfer or something. Like, help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, that's what it is. Like, you need help. We need help. Items are there to help me. Sometimes you just ain't gonna raw dog it through the whole thing, man. You play like I don't know all the rules, the nuts, like I don't do it, but like hey, you gonna try to prevent that Pokemon from fainting. You gonna do
That's
whatever it is. Help, man. Like the core theme of this is that items are there to help. I need help.
yeah.
Help me. Help you.
So on that note, as we're getting to close, unless there's something else you want to add, if I were to ask you, what is your favorite item? What would you tell me?
My favorite item. Damn, dude. Oh my God. Uh, can you go first? Because
Uh, I I am probably go with. It's weird because I've rarely ever used it in that game, but it's gonna come to my mind. I'm gonna say the copy cards from Persona 5. Because now that I've understand how the system works in terms of skill cards, the fact that you can copy cards through one of your peers to be able to allow you to customize your character more intentionally and being able to create infinite clones so you can always it's almost as if having infinite TMs and that's built into the Persona system. Like that's one of my favorite things. I think that's one of my favorite items, the clone card. And if you knew my second, it's going to be the band cards from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
all right, I have several cards now.
Yeah,
So my favorite Pokemon game of all time is Pokemon TCG. One. Two was only released in Japan. Whack. My favorite item card was Professor Oak. You know, you draw seven cards, you discard your hand. I would love to play Professor Oak when I have one card in my hand, so I get a whole new hand. Um, Fire Emblem, I was thirsty, getting rushing to get to level 10 and stuff like that to promote.
the
So I love
promote
the items. Uh, Pokemon is weird though, man.
means their favorite HM or
Because I
AT.
love tickets.
Oh,
Like back in the day, tickets to get to a faraway island to get a Mew or something.
oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
The item, the GS ball, the GS ball. Oh, you know what? Celebi isn't one of my top five Pokemon. Nowhere near. But it was the lore behind the GS ball is amazing. And be able to get the GS ball and you as kids in the West, who weren't in Japan or whatever, you couldn't get the GS ball playing Crystal. So be able to get, that's why like I tell you, my DS, my 2DS is one of the most valuable things I have because I have a legitimate copy of Crystal on there that I can get a GS ball on. The GS ball, oh my God, the GS ball would be it may be the GS ball. Um and that's the event item. See, we didn't talk about event items.
that's
That's
a
the
whole yeah, man. That's a good question.
um
That's yeah.
the
I mean,
event item.
there's probably a world where we do this. I don't play MMOs, but you play Destiny. There's probably a whole thing about event items in Destiny and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, or kind of, but like my I guess my gun, my favorite weapon on Destiny isn't like the best weapon. But it's only because it's attached to my favorite character, K6. So it's gonna be Ace of Spades, the hand cannon. And it's not the best gun, but it gets the job. Any gun in your hand, if you good, can get the job done. Shout out to my man Vince. Vince played at least back in the day, at least
Yeah.
plays Destiny.
If,
Um,
if you guys remember, that's Vince Vale from last season.
so he's a Destiny guy, but So Professor Oak and Pokemon TCG, the GS Ball and Crystal. Uh items I love Triangle Strategy, but the items were kind of boring because
Oh yeah,
they were trying to give you that they were
that,
trying to give you the bare bones of it, and I
that's
respect
a game that's not about customization. That's
it.
not so. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Fire Emblem is gonna be you already whatever Edelgard got her axe hammer battle weapon. Oh god. Anything with Edelgard. You know I love Edelgard. Claude. Like those weapons were creepy and cool at the like they were like
I mean, I think we could go as far to say those legendary weapons, even when some of them are not like greatly lore based, those might be the best designed special weapons in the series.
yeah, they were creepy, but they weren't like horror items.
Yeah.
Um the sword, what was the sword that would God, that was a great. It was like a whip.
Yep.
Can't remember. I haven't played. If you all notice, I haven't played Fire Emblem since Three Houses since 2020. But if you go on my account, I logged at
Yeah.
least hours in it. But like I said, Professor Oak, GS Ball.
And the promote items.
Um, damn, where there's some good items, man. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Then to promote items, Phoenix Down, I mentioned that, or Phoenix Wing, the revive me. I love revive items because I'm playing, especially I love revive items. Um, I would you consider in Pokemon stones to be promotion items? This is evolution.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah. And so yeah, I would definitely say that. Leftovers is a fun item for me.
All-time held item. That's a fire held item. I mean, man, you know me think of like the eject button. Uh, what else? The oh man, once you start getting competitive Pokemon held items, is a whole different thing. What is the name of the item that locks you into a move?
I
Like
forgot.
the choice bracelet.
Oh yeah, choice bracelet. But another item that people will love. Um, I think I missed this item because now it cheapens the experience because they just give it to everybody. EXP share.
Yep.
And I think they started changing it during the Sun and Moon era. What gen was Sun and Moon? I can't remember. Was it?
I think they changed the gen before, Gen 6, I think is when they first.
What was?
X and Y. I
Oh
think.
yeah, XY. They did an XY, and so that was Gen 6. Sun and Moon was 7. Um, and I think you can with Pokemon, you could really start to see a shift because Gen 5 was their attempt to go back to basics,
Yep.
and they got so much flack for that, which I don't understand because those games were
I mean,
perfect.
I think there's a whole conversation. I need to play Black and White in full. I've never finished it. But my general feeling is people don't generally like big changes as much as I think they say they do. And that's a complicated sentence, but that's kind of how I feel. I think folks like the idea of change, but it gets very difficult when it comes to the mod. I mean, I disagree with the sentence, but for some people, they don't like the Pokemon designs in Gen 5. I think Gen 5 has some of the greatest mons in
Gen
history.
5 got some of the greatest. Except I know I get, and I've been one of those people that yell at you about like, you know, ice cream Pokemon. This is stupid,
That's fine.
you know. But nah, that item question is great. But let me ask you this though.
Mhm.
Since I know I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with this, but there is a type of item
Mhm.
across across category of game, genre of game. It doesn't have to be RPG that you want to get rid of. What would it be?
Oh, to get rid of. I don't know if there's any I actually want to get rid of. Because I'm looking at the list that we've created. I don't I don't think there's anything I'd definitively get rid of. Because I'm like, I like all the improvement items. I definitely use the healing status items even if I don't want to. Key items and quest items, I feel like the only thing I can say is that the quest items can get very annoying in terms of not being sure what people actually need, and therefore it's not like really clear how to proceed on a quest. That's my that's gonna be where I go. I think unique quest items can be annoying, that if you could redesign the quest without it, I would be open to that.
Yeah. I mean, and this may be hypocritical of me, because I talked about the GS ball. I could do away with the event items
Okay.
because, also I hate DLC, and I look at those things as DLC.
I
But
mean, they are definitely DLC. We have moved on beyond that where we just get they just like log into the game at this time and you can get access, which is a better. It's one of those things where it's like it's objectively better, but it feels less special as a result.
yeah, and so there are some event items that aren't like that. Like so when I talk about the GS ball or unlocking memories like in Heart Gold or whatever, you had backstory to it. You had increased or more story to it, or you had added lore. And you know me, I love lore.
Mm.
Stories. So those items were big on lore. Like the fairway ticket. I don't. It was like, oh, you got this ticket, go here, or like in Sword and Shield, like, oh, you have these tickets, you can go to this place down south, and you can catch this big headed ass Pokemon and these Galarian forms of the legendary birds. But I could do away with that if it doesn't really push the narrative forward or give me backstory.
Yeah, there's a whole thing, but I don't know if it fits neatly. Sometimes in certain game menus with items, you can read the item or read the enemy description, read that kind of thing to build lore.
Yeah,
But I don't always think it works for items the way that I think it works for like when you log an enemy. So that's why I was like, I was gonna go there, but I don't think that fits.
yeah. I mean, I personally would choose to just be away with certain type of event items. Um, a hot take. I'll do away with rare candies
That's
and
fair.
HPs and proteins and get it out the mud. Pull yourself up out of
No,
bootstrap.
I mean the proteins and stuff I feel differently about, but I think Pokemon's at the place where you don't need rare candies anymore.
No, like, dude, um, my son had Scarlet and Violet. I gave him my sword and shield. Um, like there's so many, yo, there's no excuse for your Pokemon not to be on level 100. It's like it's gonna get to a point where they just give you a starter who's on level 100 or a level 9 30, like 15 or level 36. But I don't know. It's just
We'll, we'll
I'm
see.
an old man. I'm really yelling right now,
That is.
you
But
know. But um, I would really do away with PP ups. No, actually, no. I would not do away with PP up.
those are great actually, Adams. We haven't talked. That's a great one.
HP up. Yeah, I don't really care. You know,
That's
like,
fair.
but
But yeah,
PP up. Yeah.
on that note, I just want to say thank you for making time today. Like this, as per usual, is always a great convo. Where can the people find you if they want to find you online to hear all your thoughts?
Man, I don't know, man. I don't have my Twitter is not since I got suspended for weird reasons back in the day. I don't have that many. I don't have a lot of good reach on Twitter, but I think they can find my Twitter. I think it's JWMUXA
Hmm.
what is it? JWMUHAMMA on Twitter or what you call it X.
And
'Cause you're
then
Elon's dude. But
this is that the same thing on Blue Sky?
I think so, but I ain't gonna lie to you. I tried it, man. You
Understood.
know, and Twitter sucks too, but it's like we can get into politics as a political scientist, a real political scientist, not someone who says they do this, who actually does it. I can get into that. It's just Blue Sky feels like a uh leftist liberal circle jerk. And when I use the term liberal, I don't use it to say, oh, he's conservative. No, I'm far left from what liberals are. So
Right.
that I leave it there. We can edit that because but I think you can find me on Blue Sky that way.
Yeah.
Blue Sky, like you try to dress it up with a suit. I don't whatever. Um, if you want to see me on LinkedIn, I guess you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But who does that? Um, but no, I don't do this podcasting thing. I'm on here as much as you want me on here. I'm on here as much as long as we have something to talk about. This episode was, from my understanding, from my point of view, it was just because I saw your TikTok and you were talking about item. I said, "Whoa,
Yeah.
I." I left a comment and
Yeah.
then I called you like, "Yo." Um, uh, but yeah, that's what it is.
You're right.
Uh, other than that, man, I'm here to talk about whatever. Like, if there's a new, I
A
love
new
tactical strategy RPGs. I love grid-based combat. Um, I love turn-based combat. I'm learning that now. I used to shit on you about that. But then when I saw like the new Pokemon game, they were like, "Oh, no turn-based combat." I'm like, "This looks stupid." And I'm like, bring back the turn-based. But I love grid-based combat more than I love. And there are turns in grid-based combat, but you get the difference. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm here to talk about if it's if we replay if you and I replay Golden Sun. You
Yeah,
know,
that is I have an idea either for replay Golden Sun or I'll tell you sometime this year I'm gonna play Sacred Stones. I'm itching. I almost started it up, so I might get you here for Sacred Stones discussion because when the season is over, I am gonna play Sacred Stones and we're gonna have to talk about it. And I think the folks will need a side quest episode just talks about that game.
because I have a copy. You know, I bought that copy off eBay of Golden Sun 2.
Oh, okay, I didn't know it.
Just need to get Golden Sun 1.
Yeah,
And that, I think a topic for that would be just us talking about puzzles and
yeah,
RPGs.
100%.
Puzzles and Golden Sun 2.
Are the greatest.
Oh
They're
my God.
the
I used
only
to go to
things.
the library. I used to have to go to the library and download an FAQ.
Yes.
And like, you know how they used to make the logo and like little like backslashes and
Yep.
stuff. How do you do this? Like,
The full game. Look, one day, there are two things. One day we will do Golden Sun. I have another guy who's got to be on the podcast when we do that. It'll be me, you, and Colton. We will do Golden Sun justice. But there is a day where we just talk about dungeon puzzles. It's a lost art form that I miss, and I think that's honestly the reason why I'm playing Tales of Symphonia on and off because I'm playing that game not necessarily with the expectation like I'm enjoying it a lot, but I'm here for the dungeon puzzles because I feel like as games have gone on, puzzles scare people, and I get it. I get why, but yeah, that's a different discussion. We will come back and do that justice.
puzzles scare me like dog. In Chicago, it's this library right behind my house. Used to go to the library. You can sit at a computer for 15 minutes, and all I needed was five. I would use the money I had to print out the
Yes.
stuff, and we go back to the house. And it's like that, like kids these days won't understand the fun in doing that, or maybe they don't think it's fun. I don't know.
I mean, they probably just do the YouTube playthrough to figure it out, but
And I like YouTube, a
me
lot,
too.
but it's just something about the chase, man. You know,
Yes.
it's something about the chase. But no, we can a whole episode on
Yeah.
puzzles,
Yes.
uh, caves, dungeons. Bring dungeons back. Bring back Zubats.
I don't know about that, but yes.
It's like because like everything I said I wanted as a kid in Pokemon, I don't want. I thought I wanted to see Pokemon in the overworld. I thought I wanted to get away from HMs. You know what I'm saying? I thought I wanted TMs not to break. I realized like I didn't want any of this shit. Like this is all dumb.
That's
Like
a there's a whole oh man. There's a conversation I had with a friend around when Arceus dropped. And I told him I didn't need open world. I'm open to it, but I don't need it. And he was like, I needed this. And I do think Legends Arceus is incredible. But he was like, when he finally got it, he was like, nah, give me the old shit. And I understood it. I understood it's one of those things where I think sometimes gamers' imaginations collectively is we want a thing and then when we're presented with it, we're like, we look at the recipes change, and I don't think we considered how much of the recipe of the experience is going to change. And I think it's made me be more consistent about when I ask for a thing, have I thought it out fully?
exactly because I thought I wanted a fighting system mechanics like Pokken tournament. Like
Yep.
Pokken tournaments fighting mechanics are amazing. I'm like, oh my
Yes.
God. Tekken Pokemon. This would be great. But then I should have known that Game Freak would never fully do that. They're going to give you this weird half baked thing, and that's just. And I'm like, all right. So what was wrong with turn based? There's drama in turn based, especially when your HP go to
Yeah.
red, you ding ding, then
Yep.
music. But like, I thought I was going to get something like Pokken Tournament one day. I'm like, what world was I living on to think I was going to get something like that? Which would, that's stupid of me. Um,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if I'd say that, but
and I thought I wanted open world because I love Red Dead.
yeah.
Red Dead is also the best game of all time. I have five best games of all time that are all number one. Um, but no, I don't want that in Pokemon.
No, there's a lot of feelings. One of these days, I'll do a Pokemon episode to kind of flesh out more of my personal thoughts. But I'll be buying Legends ZA though. I know you probably won't try it, but the gameplay that they've shown, the one that's not turn-based, is more like Xenoblade, which is one of my favorite games ever. So I'll be there to see how do you apply that in the Pokemon world? We'll see.
No, you know my son will be getting it. He's big on it.
But
Are, is there any good Sonic RPGs? But I know we're
yeah,
way
yeah,
over
no,
time.
we're long story short, there is one Sonic RPG, but it is not good.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But no, man, thanks for having me.
Yes.
I'd
Yes,
love to
sir.
come back. You know the world I'm living in now.
Yeah.
So
Most of
uh I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to join. You
yeah.
just got I'm a call away for you, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So thanks again.
Th- Thank you. And for those who have listened, I'm the Wolves Den. You can find me at the Wolves Den 25 on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find Menu Combat on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram, not on TikTok. So follow anywhere, and if you'd love to leave a review on your podcast of your podcatcher on your choice, please do. Helps this podcast continue to kind of grow. I got one more episode for you this season, and it will be a full Persona 4 discussion of at least up to the end of the Rize dungeon. Because I know a lot of y'all have been waiting for more Persona 4 talk. So I got you guys on that. On that note, appreciate you all.